Hi girls, good evening. I hope you all are well with good health and stay home, stay safe. Okay. The today topic is logging protocols. The today topic is a logging protocols. As usually, we have to pose the questions ourselves, why we have to learn the topic, and actually what is the concept of this topic. For the purpose, first I want to explain a simple example. By that you can get to know why we are learning this topic. I think you already learned the concept of concurrency control and what are the problems are going to face by the concurrency control, and this is the method to overcome all those problems which are facing in the concurrency control. For example, I am taking in a transaction T1. This transaction T1 wants to update a particular data. The data, it may be the queue. This transaction wants to update a particular modification, or it want to read, or it may want to do the write operation. Okay, and at the same time, at the same point of time, on the same data, the transaction 2 to wants to write the data, but already some of the transaction T1 is working on this, but T2 also need at the particular same point of time. What happens over here, there is a collision is going to occur between the transaction 1 and transaction 2. Suppose if this is the case, while before coming to the T2 on to the particular data item Q, if T2 knows that already T1 is working, what T2 will do? The T2 will come for some after time. So, and what T1 has to take the precautions, nothing but, suppose when it is performing a particular operation on the queue of data item Q, no other has to come on to the particular data item Q. That is the responsibility has to taken by the T1, but it was not done by here. Simple, I can say that here T1 has to tell that I am working on the data item Q. If T1 is telling like that, the T2 is going to know that, yeah, somebody is working on that particular item, but T2 is not doing. But here is a concept where we can remove all these kind of concurrency problems, collisions between the transaction. That is the concept called as your locking protocol. First of all, you have to be clear what is mean by lock. Here is a proper definition. A lock is nothing but it guarantees that use of data item to a particular transaction. So what kind of operation is doing on particular transaction is going to tell by the lock. Suppose if I am considering the same transaction T1 when it is using the data item Q, when it is locking, but when it is when it will do lock on particular data item Q, that other transaction has to get to know that this person has been locked by this item, so no other transaction has to be not entered to read or write this particular data item. He is going to know. So by using the concept called as the lock, so when you do lock on particular data, no other person is going to get the chance to read or write the data. So when this transaction T2 will get the chance is nothing but, after completion of the T1, after completion of work of the T1, the T1 has to take the responsibility. It has to the unlock the data. There are two ways when you are working with the lock. There it is an lock state, one it is an unlocked state. Lock is also called as acquire, nothing but we are lock when you are locking the data, that can be called as an acquired state, or when you are releasing that lock, that is nothing but unlocked state, that is called as a release lock, that is a release mode. Okay, so if it is the situation will be like this, so after completion of the work, T1 has to unlock this particular data item. After completion of the work of the T1, the queue will be free, so other transaction will get the chance, and that other transaction has to do the lock. So the main thing I want to tell that to avoid the collisions, to maintain the concurrency between the transactions, whatever the data you are using currently or presently, you have to log that particular data. If you log that particular data, no other transaction is going to form a deadlock or to form a collision with you. Okay, and all the this who is logging on data, who is relying on data, it may be the problem. So somebody has to be manage all these logs over there. So all the logging information can be maintained by the log manager. This log manager has the responsibility that to clear all the collisions between the transactions. And the next topic is the log granularity. So log granularity is nothing but it indicates what level of the log queue is made up. Before knowing to the level of logs, how can we know that the granularity is nothing but? So the logging can be done in so many ways. There are five kinds of level of logs: database level, table level, page level, row level, field level. So you can log entire the database, you can log entire the table, you can log the entire the page, you can log entire the row, and you can also log entire the field also. Field is nothing but here you can consider as the level. So you know that in the database, every the data always stored in the form of the tables. These tables will have the rows and columns. The combination of the row and column is called as the table. Okay, clearly I'm telling. So the first type of the level of the log is if you are logging entire the database, this is going to come under the database. Once we are log the database, no, you cannot take the data from the table, you cannot add the row, you cannot update the column, nothing you can do. Anything operation you cannot perform on that particular database, and the database is going to be locked. And this is applicable to the batch processing database databases. It does not work with the your online and multi-process databases. Okay, and the second one is the table level. So in the database there are so many kind of there are so many tables. In the table, if you want to log a particular table, that will become for the second type table level. So here if you observe that suppose three tables are there, for these three tables you want to log a particular, you want to log a particular table, so this is commanded to the table level. And page level, if you observe over there, the tab in this table also we can view the data. Actually it is in the form of the pages, it is in the form of the pages. Suppose if I'm here, if I'm imagining there are four pages, if you want to log particular page, that will be commanded to the page level. And suppose in this table four pages are there, how many pages are there? Four pages are there. Suppose if I log at the third page, if I log at the third page, so somebody wants to read the second page, is there any possibility? Yes, there is a possibility, because we are not logging all entire the pages. I want to log only third page, so anybody can come, they can read the second page data and first page data and the fourth page data. So this is the concept of your page level. And if it is coming to the row level also, if you want to log a particular row, that row only is going to log remaining all activities you can do on remaining rows. And it is coming to the filter level also, it is also applicable as your row. So these are the basic level of logs is going to be there in the log granularity. And the finally log granularity is what kind of level of log we have, whether you are using database level log or whether you are using table level. So that is going to explain by the log granularity. And the main most important one, there are going to be the main two candidates. The hero of this chapter is that there are this log based protocol. This is the concept is very important. And okay, so what is the concept of this? Okay, do you want to maintain your concurrency for your data? So if you want to maintain the isolation property for your data, must ensure there is, we need to use log based protocols in our database. So what is the concept over here? To achieve consistency, to achieve consistency isolation is the, to achieve consistency of isolation is the most important idea. Yes, this is the main motto why we are working all kind of these logs and everything in the transaction control management, transaction management. Okay, locking is the simplest idea to achieve the isolation. First what we have to do if you want to achieve the isolation, first obtain a lock. First we have to do the lock on a particular data item, then perform a desired operation and then unlock it. So when you are locking a particular data, you can perform a desired operation, and last final you have to unlock, because when you are doing unlock, that data item is going to use it by the some other person. To provide better concurrency along with the isolation, we use different modes of lock. So there are going to place two types of locks are available. These two mode locks are the first one is the first main type of lock is the binary lock. The first type is a binary lock, and this binary lock is the simplest lock. And here it tells that by is nothing but the two. It will have the two faces, or I can say that it is a two states or two modes or anything else. First one is a lock and second one is a lock. If it is lock a particular item, it is going to denoted by the one. When it is unlocking, that is going to denoted by the zero. Only there are two phases are available in the binary lock. Okay, so when you're locking a particular data, that is going to tell by the first state, and when you are after your operation was done, you have to unlock the data, that is going to tell by the phase 2. This is about the binary lock, and second one is the most important for your PG entrance examination, and you can get the questions from gate net. Okay, and a shared and exclusive lock. Here you can observe shared and two types of modes are available over here. Okay, first one is a shared mode, second one is an exclusive mode. Shared mode is denoted by like this lock and hyphen s of a. Is going to denoted by the shared lock. A is in a particular data item. Okay, this transaction can perform the read operation. When this suppose there is in a transaction, it is performing the read operation. At that time, any other transaction can also obtain the same log on same data at the same time. Clearly I want to mention, for that purpose I am taking, suppose there is in a transaction T1 and there is a transaction T2. Here these both transaction wants to do the read operation. They're not at all modifying the data, but just they want to do the read operation. So at that time, actually what is our process over there? If one process is using a data, it must be locked until the completion of work only. But what happen if you observe that T1 is not modifying the data? At that time, the T2 can also read the data, because they already said that they need the read operation. If it is a write operation, this is the problem. For that purpose, we have to use the shared mode. So suppose if I am doing the log as a shared log, suppose if I am doing a log called as a shared log, whatever the transactions wants to read the data, they can understand that when it is in a shared log, they can't update. They can able to read at same data at the same time. This is the concept of the shared log. That's way when a transaction can perform the read operation at the same time, other transaction can also obtain the same log on the same data item, that is at the same time, that can be tell by your shared mode. Okay, first suppose transaction T1 is locking an item of Q. At the same time, T2 can also apply the shared lock. T1 can also apply the shared lock, and T2 is also apply the shared lock. But in the normal situation, when T1 is locking a particular item, T2 is not having the chance to lock particular item. But it is we are working within a shared lock. So when one particular transaction is want to log the shared log on data item, other transactions also can acquire the shared log over there. This is the shared mode. And coming to the exclusive mode, and it is denoted by like this. It is an x of q. I can denote when suppose transaction T1 is there, transaction T2 is there, and the same data element I am taking. T1 wants to do the read operation and T2 wants to do the write operation. At that time, you can't make this one as a shared lock, or it may be an exclusive lock. So until the transaction T1 is completed, then only T2 is going to get the chance. Okay, that is going to tell by your exclusive mode of the lock. Okay, the transaction, this whatever the data is in the exclusive mode, the transaction can perform both read and write operation, both read and write operations on operation operation, when it is doing read and write operation, both I am saying, suppose T1, again I am telling, T1 want to do the read and write operations both. At that time it can't give shared, it can't give its data to share it with the other transaction. It is only completed by T1, that will be come under to your exclusive mode. You may get one doubt, okay, T1 is doing writing, T1 is doing writing, just to T2 will come, it wants to read the data. What is the problem? No, it can't do any kind of read or write operation when other transaction is doing both operations. Specifically I am telling that both operation, that is coming to the exclusive mode. For more to avoid the confusion, I want to give a compatibility table over there. Shared and exclusive. When some particular transaction is doing unshared lock in a particular data item, both transaction can do a shared mode on a particular data item, that is a two. For one transaction is using one shared lock, other transaction wants to do the exclusive lock, that is going to the false. Here exclusive shared is also false, and exclusive is also false. Only two, only one possibility over there. When one transaction is working within a shared lock, other transaction is also can use a shared lock on the same data item, that is only is going to work over there. So this is about your logging, log based protocols. Okay, shared mode and the exclusive mode. And thanks for listening my class. I hope you all are understood. If it is any doubts, you just comment. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.